liberty, liberty, liberty.
Our government agents are working without pay. Luckily, my boys at ICE don't mind. They're in it for the love of the game. And how did I find them? By running ads like this. Do you need a job now? Yeah. Are you a big tough guy? Yeah. Tough enough for the army or police? No. But do you take supplements that you bought at a gas station? Daily. Do you like to use zip ties because people in your life don't trust you with keys? You know it. Then buckle up and slap on some Oakley's, big boy. Welcome to ICE.
Oh, my God. That was SNL's take on ICE recruiting tactics. Now, in perhaps a life-imitating art moment, exclusive new reporting from NBC News reveals Immigration and Customs Enforcement has placed new recruits into training before being fully vetted as part of the hiring surge to meet President Trump's mass deportation goals. As a result, ICE officials later discovered that some recruits had criminal backgrounds, failed drug tests, or did not meet physical or academic standards. What's more, some recruits had not submitted fingerprints for background checks, which is a violation of ICE hiring policy. In fact, one recruit had prior charges for strong-arm robbery and battery related to domestic violence. Additionally, nearly half of recruits failed the written exam, even with access to notes and textbooks. All of this as ICE has shortened its training program from 13 weeks to 6 weeks to accelerate the onboarding process. ICE's HR office is reportedly overwhelmed by more than 150,000 applicants, spurred by a $50,000 signing bonus. That'll bring you in a $50,000 signing bonus.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it is life imitating art, or at least comedy, with Tina Fey's skit. But, you know, Willie, South Park also had an entire episode where Mr. Garrison was whisked into ICE with absolutely no training, with no nothing. And here, according to this report, like half of the people in ICE failed written exams, even though they had access to notes and books. And these are the people that are going around, again, throwing people to the ground, many times without anybody seeing their identity. It is, man, you talk about a recipe for disaster. I mean, we're there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when you have masked agents who haven't really been vetted, who haven't passed the test, who've taken the signing bonus and just been kind of put on the front lines, you're going to get some of these incidents we've seen most recently down on Canal Street. Roughing up some of the guys selling fake purses down there. But yes, you would like to see, this is obviously a part of the president's mass deportation efforts. He needs the bodies. He needs people to be out in the streets, knocking on these doors, kicking down these doors, taking people out of vehicles and all the things that we've been seeing in these videos. But he needs people, Mika. He needs bodies, and so they don't have to pass the test.
They have put a lot of money, Joe, into ICE, and they're trying to get the people.
Well, a lot of money into ICE, but obviously very little focus on training, or the proper training. Mike Barnicle's with us, and Mike, you can certainly speak to how police officers and the rigorous training that so many departments go through, and so much of it just has to do with how you tamp down a situation, how you go in, keep your calm, keep it together, and try to diffuse difficult situations. We're seeing just the opposite of that time and time again with ICE, and perhaps it's because they're just rushing through the process, again, straight out of a South Park comedy skit. They're just rushing unqualified people through to go grab people, seize them, yank them from their cars, throw them to the ground, put zip ties on them, and detain them. And we're hearing more and more of U.S. citizens, American citizens, people who are here legally as well, having this treatment.
Yeah. Joe, I can't think of a morning in the recent past where we've discussed more depressing topics, one after the other. The destruction of the East Wing, what ICE is up to, the fact that I don't know anyone in this country, I don't know anyone among my coterie, small coterie of friends who don't believe that if you're in this country illegally, you don't belong here. That's not an issue. What is an issue that we have really armed, masked vigilantes roaming the streets of this country and literally scooping innocent people, largely innocent people, off of sidewalks in cities, throwing them into vans where they disappear immediately. They're sent to Vermont or they're sent to Texas, and their families are wondering where they've been sent. This is a disgrace, and it makes you wonder about our democracy. What is going on in this country? Who are we? Who are we? Take your masks off. If you're doing a job that we should be proud of or that we would want you to do, take your masks off. Identify yourself. It's not happening.
Well, you know, and certainly, again, news reports that American citizens often have been taken off the street and not been able to make contact for quite some time. It is, of course, you know, it's not what we do here in America. It's deeply disturbing. John Heilemann, two things. I'd love for you to talk about a couple things here. One, talk about the challenges of ramping up so quickly with ICE, and unfortunately, the administration deciding to bring in people who are, according to this report, at least grossly unqualified, number one. And then number two, you and I were having a back and forth on the White House and Harry Truman, who made significant changes to the White House and actually had some pushback there. But he went through proper channels, he vetted it, and he, at the end of the day, he got buy-in not only from the commissions he had to get buy-in from, and from the congressmen and congresswomen he had to get buy-in from, but from the American people because of that process.
Right, I'll do them in reverse order, Joe. I mean, the Truman balcony was controversial when Truman proposed building it. There were a lot of people in the public who made the same kind of arguments that we've heard about Trump doing what he's doing here. They said, you know, this is an exercise in ego, and that Truman was just into self-aggrandizement. But because there was the Commission of Fine Arts who had the authority to approve any changes to the White House, Truman had to go to the commission and run it through a process. And initially, the Commission on Fine Arts said, we don't want you to do this. We have various aesthetic concerns. But over time, the back and forth between the commission and the Truman administration, they eventually brought the commission around. The Truman balcony got built, and eventually the public turned also and became gave its approval. It became a popular addition to the White House. I just think that we were talking about that before, how much the Trump administration would benefit from the process of going through the process, because there's going to be a skeptical public when they see, or an outraged public when they see images of the East Wing being destroyed. You could make a lot of changes if you decide to do it the proper way. The ICE thing is really simple. It's like, ask any CEO who comes on the show of a Fortune 500 company, and you say, hey, if you try to increase your workforce by 3x in the span of 6 months, how hard would that be? And they would say probably impossible to start with. And they would say if we tried, the first thing that would happen is that the quality of our applicants would fall off. We'd end up getting a bunch of unqualified people. We'd need to offer cash incentives to get people to come in the door, and that would dilute the pool that we hire from. And then on top of that, add the fact that in this analogy, it would be as if the companies, the